make a sound, fix your crown, you talking to the gods. Been trampled down, but now we rising up against the odds. Look, behold the two olive trees. It's real light in the darkness if you wish. There's bloody rivers and the plagues with the blood. Get wind from the spirit in the upper room. The heavens feel them gamma rays. A higher power to the sons of the form of the crop. 12 tribes, Judah going first. Of the whole earth, I'm in the script of story.
And he said unto a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and also that nation whom they shall serve. And they will go out into an alien land. They will enslave them and oppress them as for 1 hour of the impious age. But of the nation whom they shall serve, I am the judge. What I told you, what your tribe will encounter in the last days. Shalom, Zion. All praises to the Most High Yah and to His only begotten Son, Yahusha, Mashiach, our kinsman redeemer, also to the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, who's been leading and guiding us into all truth in these last days. In this video, we're going to explore and look into X marks the spot, the two eclipses, 2017 eclipse and 2024 eclipse. First, we're going to go through several videos. I got like maybe 3 or 4 videos I'm going to share. These guys got a lot of information in the videos I have shared previously on this channel and other some more of my social media accounts about the eclipses. We're doing this since like 2017 and what it means. We got more information since then, but I'm going to share so that you guys can, have an idea, a grasp how serious it is, what's ahead, and how we can prepare for this time that we're in, as far as the end of the Gentiles rule and the ushering into the new kingdom of our Mashiach. So I'm gonna play these videos and I'll be back in a few. Shalom.
How many total solar eclipses have been over the United States since we became a nation in 1776? Anybody know? I will tell you. 8. Here's when they occurred. We had 2 in the 1700s. 80 years later, we had 3 in the 1800s. 92 years later, we had 2 in the 1900s. We're now in the year the millennium or whatever, 2000 of the century. If you see, there's only 7 there. When was the 8th one? It's in this century. 38 years later, on August 21st, which was the great American eclipse that went from Oregon all the way down through the Carolinas. Everyone remember that? Okay, here's what's significant. That was the 8th one, and 8 always speaks of new beginnings. Okay, it's the first year of a new Shemitah cycle, and the 9th year would be the 2nd year. But get a load of this. Solar eclipses always refer to the nations, judgment on a nation. A lunar eclipse always refers to judgment toward Israel. This is a solar eclipse, and it is the very first total solar eclipse exclusively to the United States since before the nation's founding in 1776. The one that happened in 2017 was the one and only in our history total solar eclipse that only hit the United States. It didn't hit Mexico, it didn't hit Canada. We were the only country. What that means, God put a target on our nation. We're going to be judged. Now, watch this. April 8th of 2024, this next spring, is the 9th solar eclipse to go over America. Now, let's go back and also realize April 8th is Nissan 1, which is very significant. So let's look at patterns. The 2 solar eclipses that happened in the 1700s, what was going on at that time? The Revolutionary War. The 3 solar eclipses that happened in the 1800s, what was going on? The American Civil War. During the 70s, what was going on? The Vietnam War. Okay, so August 21st, 2017, which is exactly 7 years before this one in April, will there be war? That's been the pattern. But the next one isn't until 2044, the next solar eclipse. So I really believe that we're headed for interesting times because this is the 9th eclipse, and 9 is the last of the single digits, and thus marks the end it's significant of the conclusion of a matter. It's the number of finality or judgment. And it looks like war. Okay, let's go back to our notes a minute. I'm going to put this up on the screen too. Numbers 1, we're going to look at verses 1 through 3. They're done traveling or sitting at the mountain for a year. It's time to go to war and get the promised land. Numbers 1, 1 through 3, the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness, in the tabernacle, on the first day of the second month. Whenever you're reading the Bible and you hear the first day of the month, you think of new moon. There's always a new moon on the first month. You also think of blowing the shofar, because they blow the shofar on the new moon, but they also blow the shofar when they're about to go to war. Both are happening at this time. In the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, take the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go what? To war. All that are able to go to war in Israel, you shall number them by their armies. If you're going to go to war, you better get organized.
The United States will be X'd out of history. Do you remember the solar eclipse of August of 2017? I want you to look at the route it went. There's another eclipse happening in 2024. Look at the route that goes. What does it make? It makes an X. So let me ask you a question. Let's say that you're a teacher and your student hands you a test, right? And you review the test and you look and you see some wrong answers. And you put the X next to the wrong answer. What are you saying? That's wrong. I'm crossing that out. If you put a big giant X on the entire test, what does that mean? That the entire test is failed, or you're not accepting it. So when God, who orchestrated the positioning of the sun and the earth, created the solar eclipse to make an X upon the United States, what do you think he's saying? Because Jesus said that there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and in the stars. These eclipses were 7 years apart from each other, the number of completion. And you're seeing what's going on now with Russia and Ukraine and China and Taiwan. Think on that.
So the 2017-2024 solar eclipse, a lot of people should notice by now. If you don't, then I'm guessing this is your date of you finding out about this. So the coincision of this eclipse pass is here in southern Illinois, also known as Carbondale, also known as Little Egypt. And this X right here is actually not the 2017-2024 total solar eclipse pass, but it's actually two fault line cracks that is going across America. 1,700 miles one way, 1,600 miles the other way, and the coincision is, as you can see, is the same, precisely the same location. X marks the spot, and that area just happens to be the New Madrid seismic zone. I showed this map already, and I'll just show it again for context. The New Madrid seismic zone is known for 3 great eclipses, and it's also, 3 great earthquakes, and it's also known as one of the most biggest dangers to America. This is a map from USGS, and as you can see, talking about the highest hazards and lowest hazards. This is the bar, this is the meter. All right, and as you can see right here, where the X marks the spot, simultaneously with the eclipse and the earthquakes, the activity is very, very high, and threat level and danger level is very, very high. So this is an Exodus sign. An Exodus sign. This is a sign of an Exodus, a physical, spiritual, mental awakening, and Exodus out of a system, and it's also a prophetic sign for a people. Book reference. The intersection of these two fault lines create an X at the New Madrid seismic zone, located in Missouri, just an hour-and-a-half drive or 30-minute flight from Carbondale, known as Little Egypt. What's particularly unsettling is the striking resemblance between the map of the seismic cracks and the paths of totality observed in the solar eclipse. The correlation in the paths and locations might invoke a sense of awe or terror, depending on one's perspective, and invites contemplation on the possible means or connection these natural phenomena might hold. And you can see the striking resemblance in Forbes magazine doomsday map or doomsday crack, because this would be the precise location of X marks the spot. The unsettling parallels between the seismic crack and the path of totality are not lost on those who study them. Yet, the lack of public warning from scientists or authorities are baffling. It calls to mind scenes from disasters, movies like 2012, where the government concealed imminent catastrophic to avert panic. Could we be living in such scenario? Have those in power suspected a looming threat and chosen silence over alarm? These questions linger, leaving us to ponder the cryptic message that nature seems to be signaling and wonder if humanity is truly ready to face whatever may be coming. Now we see where Forbes get their prediction from. But trust me, it's way much more deeper than you think. This is an Exodus sign for a chosen people. For the people, for humanity.
Genesis 15:13 through 14. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 100 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Apocalypse of Abraham, chapter 32, verses 3 through 5. And they will go out into an alien land, and they will enslave them and oppress them as for 1 hour of the impious age. But of the nation whom they shall serve, I am the judge. And Yahuwah said this too, Have you heard, Abraham, what I told you, what your tribe will encounter in the last days? So what we have here is the Most High giving a prophecy concerning his people being enslaved in the land that is not theirs for 400 years. So we have a period of 1619 to 2019 when, the whole pandemic and everything started. Okay, that was in the middle point, 2020, the midpoint of the two eclipses. The judgment that's coming upon America is due to what they have done to the Israelites, the actual Jews of the Bible. So we have this eclipse coming, marking the 7-year period, the one soon to come, April 8th. America only has a little bit of time to repent, which they, of course, aren't going to repent. If they were, they would have done so already. So the eclipse in 2017 went through 7 cities called Salem. We also had the Revelation 12 sign in 2017 in September, the same time around the first eclipse. April 8th, 2024, the final eclipse that's coming through America that's going to complete the X or the Tav sign across America, which is 400. The numerical value of the Tav is 400. It's going through multiple cities called Nineveh in the United States. And we all are familiar with Jonah, how he went to go preach to Nineveh because the Most High was getting ready to destroy that place. So judgment is coming, and it's tied to and it's due to the enslavement of his people, okay, Israel, right? And this next video I'm going to share is about Daniel's 70 weeks. There's multiple interpretations about Daniel's 70 weeks, which is found in Daniel chapter 9, verses 24 through 27. But I'm leaning towards where the 70 weeks is broken down several periods and 3 periods, with the last 7 years being a future prophecy and fulfillment. And I believe that 7 years, the last 7 years of Daniel, is shown in the heavens. What X marks the spot, the 2017 to 2024. So let's look at that and see if we can tie that in. But we're not giving any dates. We're not prophesying, saying something that's going to happen absolutely on April 8th. But we're just saying the signs are there. And it's important for us to, be prayerful, be mindful, be ready. All right. We don't want to be caught slacking in this last time, in these last days, because he's getting ready to seal up some things. The end of the age is here. The new age, the kingdom is coming. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share this video, and then we're going to close. So please share, comment, leave your thoughts, and subscribe if you will. Until next time, shalom, family.
Daniel chapter 9 verse 24-27. King James Version. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. 25 Know therefore and understand, that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. 26 And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. 27 And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. The 70 weeks of Daniel is a prophecy found in the book of Daniel in the Bible, specifically in Daniel chapter 9 verse 24-27. It's a complex and symbolic passage that has been interpreted in various ways. The 70 weeks are often understood as 70 weeks of years, representing a period of 490 years. The prophecy is traditionally interpreted to predict the coming of the Messiah. The 70 weeks are divided into 3 main segments: 7 weeks, 49 years, 62 weeks, 434 years, and 1 week, 7 years. Different interpretations exist regarding the starting point and fulfillment of these weeks. Some connect the beginning of the 70 weeks to a decree to rebuild Jerusalem, while others associate it with different historical events. The final week, often seen as a period of tribulation, is sometimes linked to the ministry of Yahusha or interpreted as a future eschatological event. Interpreting the fulfillment of the prophecies in the book of Daniel, particularly the 49 years and the 62 weeks, can be complex and varies among scholars and religious traditions. One common interpretation associates the start of the 70 weeks with the decree to rebuild Jerusalem, and the end point is often seen as the coming of the Messiah. One popular interpretation places the fulfillment of the 69 weeks, 7 weeks plus 62 weeks, at the time of the arrival of Yahushua HaMashiach. The starting point is often linked to the decree issued by King Artaxerxes to rebuild Jerusalem, which is mentioned in the book of Ezra. This decree is estimated to have occurred around 445 BC. If you calculate 69 weeks of years, 483 years, from that point, it roughly brings you to the early 1st century AD, corresponding with the time of Yahusha's ministry. The decree to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem is often associated with King Cyrus of Persia. This decree is mentioned in the book of Ezra in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament. Specifically, in Ezra chapter 1 verse 14, King Cyrus is said to have issued a proclamation allowing the Israelites to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple. This event is a significant part of the historical background for understanding the timeline associated with the 70 weeks prophecy in the book of Daniel. Some interpretations of Daniel's 70 weeks connect the starting point to this decree by Cyrus, and from there, calculations are made leading to the time of the Messiah. The calculation of the 483 years, 69 weeks of years, from the decree to rebuild Jerusalem to the time of the Messiah's ministry involves several historical and interpretive considerations. There are different proposals for the specific years involved, but one common approach connects the decree of Cyrus or Artaxerxes to the ministry of Yahusha. 1. Decree of Cyrus, 539,538 BC. Some interpretations start with the decree of Cyrus, and when you add 483 years, 69 weeks of years, it brings you to around the late 1st century BC or early 1st century AD. 2. Decree of Artaxerxes I, 458,457 BC. Another common starting point is the decree of Artaxerxes I, mentioned in Ezra chapter 7. If you begin the count from this decree, it leads to the early 1st century AD, aligning with the time of Yahusha. 3. Ministry of Yahusha, circa 2730 AD. Many interpretations suggest that the 69 weeks culminate with the ministry of Yahusha. The exact year varies, but Yahusha's public ministry is commonly thought to have started around 2730 AD. It's important to note that these calculations and interpretations involve a degree of speculation and symbolism. Scholars and theologians may differ in their precise dating, but the general idea is to link the 483 years to significant events surrounding the life of Yahusha. Biblical scholars have diverse perspectives on the timing of Daniel's last 7 years, primarily based on varying interpretations of the text. Some scholars associate it with historical events around the time of the Maccabean revolt, while others see it as a prophecy with a future fulfillment, possibly related to the end times. There are 3 main viewpoints. 1. Historical interpretation. Some scholars link the 70 weeks to events surrounding the Maccabean revolt in the 2nd century BCE. They view the last week as a period of intense persecution and associate it with historical figures like Antiochus IV Epiphanes. 2. Yahusha's time interpretation. Some connect the prophecy with events during the time of Yahusha, seeing the 70 weeks as symbolic and fulfilled in the life and ministry of Yahusha HaMashiach. The last week might be associated with the period of Yahusha's ministry. 3. Future fulfillment interpretation. Others interpret the last 7 years as a future period related to eschatological events, often associated with end times and apocalyptic scenarios. This perspective is common in certain Christian theological traditions. It's important to note that interpretations can vary widely, and scholars within different religious traditions may hold diverse views on the timing and fulfillment of Daniel's prophecy.